Well, welcome to the Friday devotional. This is John Miller. And before we get into the passage today in Ephesians chapter 5, I wanted to interest you in what's called the Bible Project. And maybe you've seen it, heard of it, but you go online, look for the Bible Project, and it will give you an incredible visual synopsis of every book of the Bible. And you actually watch this artist rendering as you go through each book, and it's fascinating and very educational, so-called the Bible Project. Check it out. Now, we are in Ephesians chapter 5, and we ended off last time with a very familiar passage in verse 31. For this cause a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and the two shall be one flesh. So this is in the section where it talks about husbands and wives and their relationship to each other, and the relationship of marriage to Jesus and his church. Jesus and his church, which is the bride of Christ. And there'll be a marriage supper of the Lamb one day in the future in heaven, where we will be joined in that very special way, and there'll be a wonderful feast in heaven the Bible talks about. But we are primarily emphasizing marriage here, and this is Paul's instruction to the Ephesian Christians as to what a marriage looks like in terms of the way husband and wife are to relate to one another. So you are to, in terms of marriage, you're to leave your father and mother, and the man would often leave his home and go and stay with the parents of the one he was going to marry, and there would be some time there. It was the custom of the day, so that's why it says man leave his father and mother and cleave to the wife, and it says the two shall be one flesh. This, when we look at 1 Corinthians 6:16, we find out that when it says the two shall become one flesh, it's actually talking about sexual intimacy there, intercourse. That's literally what it's talking about. Now, of course, the one flesh, and this goes back to Genesis, of course, it's talking about that it's actually a word for glue, and it's a oneness. Something that comes together so tightly. That's why Jesus said, let no man separate it. It's super glued. A husband and a wife in their vows to one another, and they seal those vows in consummation in terms of physical intimacy. It's like this super glue that no person is to separate. And so that's the idea of this incredible oneness that's illustrated in sexual intimacy. And of course, in verse 32, Paul says the mystery is great. This mystery is great. It is, it's mystical. And that's why sex outside of marriage is so wrong, because it's a spiritual experience. We have souls. We're not just a body without a soul. We have souls. And when we unite in this particular special way, it is a spiritual bond. So there's a lot that goes into that. So this mystery is great, this mystery of marriage, and yet he says, but I'm speaking in reference to Christ and the church. So Paul says, now I want you to know that this mystery also includes, and primarily as he's been trying to talk about the importance of Christ loving the church so much that he gave his life for it. He's talking about that is a great mystery. And then he says, he finishes this off and he says, nevertheless, let each individual among you also love your wife as himself, and let the wife see to it that she respect her husband. And so we have the words love and respect in here. There's a book written by that. There's a conference called Love and Respect. But it's interesting in that it says that you also love your wife as you love yourself. So this is talking about a high degree of love, because obviously we care for our own physicality and health. It's a priority in our life. Well, we are to love our wives as a priority, and this word agape is a love that Paul later says, hey, you're to love your wife so much that you are willing to give up your life for her like Jesus did for the church. So that's a deep, abiding agape love. And then let the wife see it to that she respect, and there's that word kephale again, respect her husband, and how much that means to a husband to be respected or honored for who he is in the marital relationship. So an incredible love, deep, abiding, unconditional love for the wife. Of course, a wife is to love the husband, and the husband comes under the wife in appropriate ways. But when it says respect, I think it is also talking about the fact that a husband is greatly encouraged when his wife respects him, looks up to him, values him, honors him. It's the attaboys of life, the cheerleader in his life. I think that goes a long way for the husband. So that's kind of on the wife's part. There's a lot that could be said there, but we are out of time. And so we'll let that suffice. But I hope that is interesting to you in this Friday devotional. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.